Now, normally I don't dabble into hockey, but as a Boston guy, as a Boston Bruins, I don't even know if I really call myself a Boston Bruins supporter, but I live in Boston. If the Bruins are in the playoffs, I support them. I'm not a hockey guy. I don't ever come off as a hockey guy. But I'm going to tie in on this Jeremy Swayman thing. Now, people can make fun of the Bruins all they want for missing opportunities the last 5 years. That's fine. I'm going to look at it the same way I looked at it with the Celtics at one point and look at the Bruins and say, did management make every single opportunity to build this team to win every year? And I say yes. Now, once upon a time, that wasn't always the case. I think Don Sweeney, Cam Neely have done a good job. However, with Jeremy Swayman and this goalkeeper situation with Ullmark, they botched it. Now, I'm very uneducated in hockey. However, I am a soccer fan. And I have seen how the two goalie situations in soccer have turned into fucking disasters. I don't even know where to begin. As far as, do I start with Juventus with Gianluigi Buffon and Chesney? I mean, Chesney replaced Buffon. Buffon was still there. Buffon went to PSG. Buffon was then the backup to Gianluigi Donnarumma. And Donnarumma had some confidence issues and some injuries. Buffon stepped in. He looked like shit. It's a bad situation. And then, of course, there are some teams that have two goalies, like Napoli did with Alex Meret. Oh, my God. Who's the other guy? Shit. Alex Romero, before he went to Sosa. And Alex Romero at Sociedad, too, was a part of a two-goalkeeper situation there. So, I mean, in soccer, I mean, there's so many different... I could, if I had the whole book, I would be able to go in there. But I think with the Bruins, you went from having the best record in the NHL 2 years ago, the President's Trophy. You lose to the Florida Panthers. Now, I saw the whole bit with Nick Foligno when he said that, like, it just happens. And listen, man, this is the way I look at it if I'm a Bruins fan. Now, you may look like the Atlanta Braves of this generation of hockey, but I'll say this for the Bruins. From 2007 to now, Bruins fans cannot complain. They're the one team around here that's consistently tried to build. Now, they haven't had to rebuild. They haven't had to deconstruct the whole roster. They've just retooled it. Now, of course, it's cool to see a hometown guy like Charlie Coyle on the team. It was cool to have Keith Yandel on the team. Like they brought in pieces here and there to fill in spots. Some good moves, some very bad moves. You can look back and say the Tyler Seguin move was a horrible move. You can look back and say that trade of Milan Lucic was probably the deal that saved the Bruins for 5 years, because even though some of those draft picks didn't work out, some of the other ones that they did pick did work out. So even though DeBrusk didn't look pretty in the beginning, but DeBrusk ended up being a good player for them, and so be it with Jake DeBrusk. Shine was horrible, and then the other dude was not good either. But Brandon Carlo, the second-round pick, was a guy who stuck around. Douglas Heinen, I think, was a third-round pick. He stuck around. So I think they have guys that contribute to a different style of Bruins hockey, because they had Claude Julien where they were more of a grinding team. Like Claude was, I remember the power play was always like the fucking joke of the Bruins. Like they scored like one power play goal their whole fucking Stanley Cup run or something. However, you watch that Game 7 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins, and it was like a 1-0 final. I think Seguin scored the goal in that game. And you can tell that was a very disciplined hockey team. That was a different type of team. But they also had Tim Thomas in that, who was the hot hand. There are a lot of the hockey people that I talk to from my time as a sports blogger, and I see it on the groups that I still see into. I don't really participate because I don't really know the topic, but a lot of the hockey people will tell you if you draft a goalie in the first round, you're giving somebody else a stud. And I can see that, because as someone that watches the NFL and seeing teams overdraft quarterbacks, leaving guys like, for example, like Marvin Harrison Jr. falls right into Arizona's lap. That's one. You get some of these running backs that have been around, like Bijan Robinson, for example, someone that will fall. I think if you're looking at the value, it's different. Now, if they decide to keep Jeremy Swayman, I think it's going to make the Boston Bruins, in future negotiations, it could hurt them. similar as it does with other teams when they just don't make it doesn't make a lot of sense business-wise. However, the Bruins are still going to be a borderline contender at the very worst, maybe a borderline wild card playoff team at worst, actually. However, I could have told you 4 years ago this team was ready to blow it up, and I was wrong. I said it 2 years ago that this team was ready to blow it up, and I was wrong. So at this point, I'll shut up and listen to what Don Sweeney and Cam Neely are going to do, because the team will probably end up as a top 4 seed in the playoffs again. Despite losing the Bergerons, despite losing the Chars, despite losing both freaking good goalkeepers. It's astonishing to me. But again, like as someone that's not a hockey person, I can't really dive into the analytics of it, but that's just the optics of it. I think Boston fans are a little nervous, but we'll see. I mean, they've had goalkeepers come out of nowhere before and be stars here. So maybe it happens again. We'll see.